email. I think Sadia has your manager's number, so we'll email it to
Yeah.
you.
Okay, done.
But
How are you?
going on?
A lot is going on.
Well, the COVID is going on. अब तो खैर COVID is kind of become. In Pakistan तो लगता है कभी COVID था ही नहीं.
है ना? यहाँ तो खैर it's like a normal. सब चीजें खुल गई हैं. Things are normal, back to everything. Everybody's roaming around and doing their bit.
Yeah. Lahore में तो it's like a disaster. मतलब in the sense that no one is even like bothering to wear a mask. No one. I mean, like it's ridiculous the way Lahore is right now.
I get so scared when I'm roaming around and I get my mask and मैं पहनती हूँ, फिर पकड़ती हूँ, फिर उतारती हूँ, फिर पहनती हूँ. It's like bloody confusion all day long.
मैं तो अभी तक पहन रही हूँ.
हाँ भाई, बहुत जरूरी है. और अब तो I think क्योंकि खुल गया है तो there will be a spread of this corona like crazy, I think.
I think that is exactly what I think. So my children are still under like house arrest because like March say they've been under house arrest, right? And especially because mera chota wala is only like 4 years.
Oh my God, हाँ. तो वो तो obviously you have to be careful and you have to make sure that kids are not.
But people are like roaming around as if kabhi corona tha hi nahi. I don't see any masks like anywhere. And I'm like, what is going on with this world?
हाँ, कुछ cautious नहीं है. हम कभी भी नहीं थे यार. Having hepatitis, I think we realized that eating out is a bad habit because eventually what happens is that आपने कुछ गलत खा लिया और कुछ भी हो सकता है. आपने गलत पानी पी लिया, कुछ भी हो सकता है. So it's not easy to be careful enough. You have to be very, very careful. So वो हमारे यहाँ
Mandana because it's 7.
हाँ.
Should I go live?
Sure. Yeah.
So is Ali going to be joining you? कि शुरू में सिर्फ आप हो और फिर Ali आएगा?
I think he's joining us in a bit. I think he's.
Assalamu alaikum everybody. This is the original Scary Yummy and we are live with Mandana and Ali Noor. That's Mandana in the frame. Ali Noor did become invisible. He's just going to join in and then we can ask them all the questions. So Mandana, when I told a lot of people, like when I told the Ammis that, oh, we have Ali Noor coming, you know what a lot of them said? Oh my God, my girl crush. And so many women said that, oh, hamara pehla crush was Ali Noor. And you probably like get to hear that a lot. Okay, oh, he was our first crush, or when we heard this song, etc. Does it ever, like as a wife, does it ever make you feel insecure? Does it ever make your life like a little more difficult, knowing that your husband is in the public eye candy of so many girls, girl crushes?
He's always been that person. I think since I met him when he was not that, तो वो मेरे लिए I think it's not that big a deal. I don't see it like that. So I don't think it has been a cause of any issue or anything as such.
Yeah. But in your marriage, because we talk about marriage a lot on Scary Yummy, obviously, because it's a group of Ammis, so everybody there's married, and everybody's there, everybody's working on making their marriage work. We actually had a live session called How to Make Your Marriage Work with a psychologist. You and Ali, Ali obviously belongs to an entertainment industry, जहाँ पर like I know it's a stereotype, but लगता यही है कि not that many. और या तो divorces इतनी public हो जाती हैं कि लगता ये है कि in the entertainment industry, the steady marriage is an anomaly and not the norm. What has helped you and Ali work on your marriage? Like any tips for Ammis who are trying to work on their marriages?
I think, there's a lot of things I think to keep it real. That's the most important thing. We all have our ups and downs. We all have our issues and families, and we have to be. मतलब I think कि आप इस तरह सोचें कि आपकी फैमिली उसकी फैमिली में कोई फर्क नहीं है. और I think the starting point for my relationship has been that मैंने कोई डिस्क्रिमिनेशन नहीं की, मैंने उसके अम्मा अब्बा के साथ, अपने पेरेंट्स में. So I think that has been a very, like जिस तरह मैं अपनी माँ से बात करूंगी या जिस तरह मैं अपनी माँ के साथ गुस्सा अगर वो मुझे कर रही है तो मैं माइंड नहीं करूंगी. I think that has, and I have never reacted or said anything that can, so I think that has kept our relationship very smooth. एंड हाँ, हमारे आपस में झगड़े होते हैं, कम्युनिकेशन प्रॉब्लम्स होते हैं, सब कुछ होता है, बट आई थिंक दैट्स अ पार्ट ऑफ मैरिज बिकॉज यू आर इन अ रिलेशनशिप वेयर यू आर सपोज्ड टू बी टेकन फॉर ग्रांटेड एंड you're there, you're just the wife, so that's the attachment of the word wife that comes with it. So I think वो at the end of the day I think आप खुद क्या कर रहे हैं, आपका अपना बिहेवियर क्या है, आप अपने आप ही को बदल सकते हैं. तो अगर आप अपने आप को बदलें और अपने आप के रिलेशनशिप पे अपने पे काम करें तो आई थिंक थिंग्स गेट बेटर. And that's the only way of understanding marriage or any other relationship for that matter. I think हम अपने दोस्तों में, अपने रिश्तेदारों में, सब में लिहाज एक रखते हैं, एक ख्याल रखते हैं. तो I think when that is not there, जो मियाँ बीवी के रिलेशनशिप में नहीं होता है, या एक्सपेक्टेशंस बहुत ज्यादा होती हैं, तो उसमें आपको ये समझ जाना चाहिए कि यार मेरी एक्सपेक्टेशन है, ये मैं समझ रही हूँ, मे बी मैं ऐसे कम्युनिकेट नहीं कर पा रही हूँ, सो मेरा मे बी दिस इज हाउ आई नीड टू वर्क ऑन माई सेल्फ. तो बजाय pointing fingers around here and there, I think that's the, and yeah, we've been together we've known each other before we got married. That really helped. We understood each other's ambitions or whatever he wanted in his life and work ethics जो भी थे. So I think that also helped. That also was a cause of a lot of normality that we brought to the marriage.
Yeah. But Mandana, what you're saying is like really mature and something that's not, मतलब इतना ज़्यादा नहीं देखा जाता. Judging from the anonymous post, a lot of ammis complain about their mother-in-laws, and that is a very difficult rishta. And not all mother-in-laws are the same, and they obviously complain about their sister-in-laws. They complain about the other members in the in-laws. Did you how did you become this way? Did life teach you lessons? Did you enter marriage?
When you I think my father used to tell me one thing about his life, and that was that Mandana, जितना गुड़ डालोगी या जितना मीठा डालोगी उतना मीठा होगा.
But do you think it's true? I feel there are relationships जिसमें मैंने personally इतना invest किया है, but वो मीठे नहीं हुए. Like maybe
नहीं. Okay, Ali Noor is here.
How are you?
कैसी हो?
You tell Ali, it's been so long.
सब बुड्ढे हो गए.
मैं नहीं हुई, आप हो गए. How are you? I like your hairstyle. So Ali, I was telling Mandana, you are every ammi's girl crush. I don't know how that makes you feel. So when we posted your picture and we were like, Ali Noor's coming up, so everybody was like, girl crush. And obviously we're all ammis now. So ammi crush to nahi ho sakta. Girl crush.
Ammis are hot. All ammis are hot.
Yes, you can't say anything else on a platform with ammis. So just, we have a lot of questions for you from our members, but let's just continue. The first question that people wanted me to ask Mandana, se maine puch liya for you, was what helped you guys make your marriage work when you belong, Ali, you specifically belong to an industry where it seems like it could be just
this thing made it work.
उसने तो बता दिया, आपने कुछ नहीं किया. It was just Mandana.
मैंने सब कुछ उसका उल्टा किया है. और मुझे लगता है करता रहूंगा. I'm incorrigible.
No, actually, your contribution was zero. Your contribution was marrying Mandana, and then Mandana was there to fix it.
My contribution was कि okay Mandana, तुम्हें मैं इतना प्यार करता हूँ कि तुम शादी करें तो मैं शादी भी कर लूँगा. I don't believe in marriage at all. So
really, you don't believe in marriage as an institution, but you've been married, hopefully happily, and you have children. You still don't. Nothing makes you believe in it.
Yeah, I hope it ends with us and the children don't have to go through this anymore.
Really? Why? Why do you feel marriage is not the normal state of being?
Because it's अपना वो ड्यूटी दे चुकी है ना. Marriage एक context में थी, एक societal system ka hissa thi. And then since the society is no longer the same, since the times are no longer the same, there was so many factors that made us what we were for centuries. And then suddenly everything is just gone topsy-turvy. The way we have learned how to handle information, the way we've learned how to handle our value systems, our moral systems.
Okay, guys, just
We work differently.
Sorry, Ali, we lost you a little
But
bit.
obviously, to which we've been a part of.
Okay, we're losing Ali and Mandana a little bit.
Hello.
Yeah, we lost you a little bit in the middle. Can you hear me clearly?
Can you see that? I can hear you. Can you hear me now?
Now I can hear you. You were saying, you were talking about how you feel that marriage is no longer relevant.
I'm not saying it's not relevant for all people, but I think for most people who get exposed, just like they are over time having different relationships with God, different relationships with religion, different relationship with morals and other sort of.
Okay, I'm losing them again. What is going on? Everybody who's watching, can you tell me if you can't hear me or can't hear Mandana and Ali? Like, kiski awaaz nahi aa rahi clearly because I've lost them. But I want to know कि मेरे side पे तो नहीं issue हो रहा. So those of you who are watching, can you guys tell me? Aisha, we will just ask him that question and.
Hello.
Yeah.
Sorry, the group is saying कि आप लोगों की आवाज सही आ रही है. It was something wrong in my end, but so एक second. Is there? Storm fiber. Ali, आप लोगों को मेरी आवाज clearly आ रही है because everyone on the group is saying they could hear you clearly. So it wasn't you guys, it was my internet. आप लोगों को मेरी आवाज सही आ रही है?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Now I can hear you, yes.
Okay,
Chalo.
so whatever it was, hopefully. And then I'm also going to get, okay, so Ali, some of the mothers are saying that's the most radical view we've heard on marriage. So we don't have to go in, like delve into that view because I think us pe to phir discussion bilkul hi farak chali jayegi.
Yeah, I'm just saying that I think our children don't have to go about marriage the way we had to go through it. I think marriage in the future will mean something else. I have nothing against the idea of a man and a woman being together legally and morally and in the right way, that whatever is relevant in context of how society works. But having said that, I think that the society has changed, and because society has changed, we have to, work with marriage accordingly. And the current, whatever the standards or whatever the requirements or whatever the methodologies in which people are going about their marriages, they don't seem to be working. People are not so happy, and I think a conventional marriage has a lot to do with that.
But Ali, if you want to bring up kids who are Muslims, is there even another way, like Islamically, for a husband and a wife to be together? Like,
I really like my children to explore Islam very, very seriously and make their own decision. I would like them to read the Quran properly. I would like them to not follow their Islamiyat kitabein. I would like them, like I did, because मैंने बहुत time निकाल के, I think मैंने बहुत effort किया to understand Quran. I understood it in its translation. I spent a lot of time learning a bit of Arabic and then grasping it. And then I came to the conclusion that if my children want to be serious Muslims, then they're going to have to make a serious effort. Yeah. And a serious Muslim is not about heaven or hell. A serious Muslim is about understanding the idea of God in a way that, that you have to discover God. You just don't. To me, the meaning of La ilaha illallah does not mean कि जो आपके बाप ने आपको खुदा दिया, आप उसको बस agree कर लें. I think La ilaha illallah literally means to discover God, to make an effort, to educate yourself, to really, really, really grasp, and then have a point of view which is going to last you, with which you can hold on to for the rest of your life. And that is something that I want my children to be. Not necessarily conventional Muslims just because they were born in a Muslim family.
Right. So you have two kids, a daughter and a son. So have you already like started working on them exploring Islam? Who teaches them Islam? Do you have like
No, I don't.
discussions with them?
We don't teach them Islam. We teach them a lot of literature. We teach them
But do they have a
languages. And
Qari Sahib who comes home or no?
no. I
No.
completely disagree with reading Quran in Arabic if you don't understand. I completely disagree with it. Outright.
Really?
Just no kehra kale. You got to learn the language and then you read it. If you don't learn the language, I think it's very wrong for you to read it because
But then
then you're
how
just.
do you say the namaz? Like agar aapne, if your children
They
are
don't
not,
say the namaz. They don't say the namaz. Nobody says the namaz unless they don't understand it. I don't agree with it. I'm willing to take the risk of them going to hell if that's what it means.
so you want them to first understand Islam and then learn it. You know, there's a great program, I should tell you about it, Ali, which you will love. So I wanted I'm not as radical as you are, I'm in the middle. So I want them to really understand Islam and learn Arabic, but do their namaz also. There's a program called Noor Kids from London. It's being streamed free of cost under lockdown. Amazing. So they have khutbahs for kids in English. Noor Kids was set up by somebody like you in the UK who believed that there is no, like, where is the modern Islamic teaching to our children? We've advanced so much in the teaching of robotics and maths. Islam abhi tak wohi purana, like 1902 ka tarika ke qari sahab aayenge और you know वो पहले का आपको वो मतलब पहले आपको तलफ़्फ़ुज़ सिखाएंगे फिर आपको पारा पढ़ाएंगे the same old. So he's really modernized it. I would really urge you to check it out. I think you would love it. They have like khutbahs for children. They like the way they explain the Hajj to children was beautiful. It's called Noor Kids, and it's from the UK all over the world. Like I personally really like it. They have a Friday khutbah for kids in English about things that matter to them. A lot of emphasis on morality. Very highly acclaimed program. Okay, so we have a compliment for Mandana from Aisha Riaz. Mandana, you have stopped aging. And Aisha's also saying, you guys look great together. Make a new video together. Is that on the cards? Is a new video on the cards?
इससे गुजारा करिए वीडियो आपको नजर नहीं आ रहा हमारा इसका वीडियो निकाल
The album is coming out with a lot of songs. There are 7 songs in it, and one of them has been out. And one of the songs that is coming, we do plan to do something interesting in it, which is called Tere Saath. And I really, as Ali Noor puts it, it's written for me. It's a song that. So we're planning, maybe let's see what happens in that video.
But you just released a song last week, right? So is that the song that was written for you, or that song still hasn't been released?
No.
that was written for you.
I was like, I don't know if that's a good idea.
No, that's called Tere Saath. It's going to be somewhere in the after Muharram. It will be coming slowly, one by one. Every week there will be a release of a song after Muharram.
Okay, so Ali, we asked this question from Mandana kind of, but a lot of we had 3 women ask a similar version of this question. Yet throughout your career, girls have been crushing on you, and I'm guessing they're still crushing on you. How did you manage? Ali is going to be floating in air after this interview where all the women are like, girl crush. So how does this affect you? Do you sometimes feel like your ego is becoming really big? Or how does it affect you in your marriage when there's so much maybe unwanted attention around you? Does it?
It is not wanted for him.
It is very, very wanted attention, man.
Very wanted attention.
The part of marriage that I have succumbed to is what Mandana wanted. Beyond that, it's my the way I go about
it. I can't stop his personal feelings, so I don't even know much about personal feeling. But yeah, I know he gets very happy. It's obvious.
मेरे cousins बोलते हैं कि हमारे घर में हर बच्चा 1.2 times married होता है, पैदा होता है, इतनी शादियां होती हैं, multiple शादियां. So I mean, the only thing that I've tried my best to do is, I won't even dare to talk about loyalty, but I'll definitely talk about that I've loved her the same way that I've loved her from the first day to date. अब बाकी तो दिल बहुत बड़ा है मेरा यार.
Ali, people who don't know you well are going to think क्या बिल्कुल serious बात कर रहे हो, and they're going to be like,
मैं बाकी सीरियस बात कर रहा हूँ, मैं कोई नॉन सीरियस बात नहीं कर रहा हूँ. मैं क्या मतलब करूँ, क्या कहूँ मैं इस बात के बारे में? What is what it is.
So it seems like marriage has not changed you, just based on what I'm hearing. Did parenthood change you? Did parenthood change you? Because you have these two beautiful children. Has being a father changed you?
Has my being a father changed me? I don't know. I don't think so.
Are you like a very, what kind of a dad are you? Are you very like involved, like under COVID? Were you the kind of dad who would change diapers? Or are you just the dad who wants to be cool and teach them music?
I'm the kind of dad who's still figuring out how to spend time with his kids. I've been that uninvolved. I'm sorry. I'm not a good father, I suppose. My relationship with my children is just that of an individual to an individual. To be very honest with you, I'm not. मतलब मुझे जो मेरे अपने parents के साथ मेरे experiences थे, I think I'm going against a lot of them because a lot of those indulgences I think were not so useful for me.
Really? Like, so, please tell us about that. Okay, firstly, I want to tell you there is no such thing as a bad father. Like we say that on Scary and Me all the time because I mean, history and research and science has shown that parents, children who came out of what we look onto as unhealthy parental practices did brilliantly in life, like Barack Obama being just one of the thousands of examples. So that is why, like, at least at Scary and Me, and I think at all platforms across the world, they believe there is no such thing as bad fatherhood because nobody knows what works. I mean, some examples.
I just said I'm an uninvolved father. I'm not a very involved father. I don't think I'm a bad father at all. I think what I have with my children is a very, very good relationship. And that's the thing that I upheld. I don't want my children to remember me in any way as a sort of how shall I put it, as a obnoxious, hard, difficult father. I'm just very, very like मैं बहुत उनको ज़्यादा freedom देता हूँ. And obviously I like to spend. Huh? Permissive.
Yeah, the permissive parenting. So you don't say no to them at all. If they're like, oh, we want Lay's and Coke and candies.
No, I say no a lot, but I don't have for lack of a better word, उनका खास पर्दा नहीं है मेरा. कोई मतलब they're all the same. We're all three kids. Basically, हमारी अम्मी और अब्बा मंदाना है technically. तीनों की और इन तीनों में सबसे mature आदमी मैं हूँ. तो संजना को तो ये बात समझ में आ गई है, ज़ात को भी आ जाएगी कुछ अर्से में. At the end of the day, they have to. All three of these people have to raise this kid for the rest of their lives if they want to.
But doesn't that put a lot of undue pressure on Mandana if she's like running the marriage and running the parenthood part of it?
And the house and the works and the shoots and the way she produces all the videos and everything. She's just not just a housewife. She's वो सब कुछ ही देखती है. और फिर उसमें thankless job है because उसको मैं फिर भी बुरा भला कहता हूँ हर दफा.
So Mandana, you just so badly in love कि बस everything is okay in your book.
I think when everybody understands the dynamics of a relationship, then they say, I think Mandana is not normal. She loves you too much.
मेरे से अच्छा कोई level तुमने दुनिया में देखा? ये ना सिर्फ मंदाना
considering you love her so much, what do you do to show the love? She runs the house, she runs your business, she manages your kids, she manages you according to you.
The way I stop showing my love,
I will go.
She'll walk away.
So what do you please tell us? What are those romantic gestures that make a woman like almost?
No romantic gestures.
मैं romantic gestures में believe romance 24/7 होना
चाहिए. That's so. I think. पता है शायद मैं थोड़ी सी नॉर्मल इंसान हूँ. मेरी एक्सपेक्टेशन बहुत छोटी हैं और बहुत जल्दी मैं खुश हो जाती हूँ. So I think I don't think he's ever given me many good romantic gestures or anything like that. हमारी जो है वो I don't know, it's like a relationship that has what do you call it?
I'll call it a blood relationship. Now, I know it's going to sound weird, but this is what we call a blood relationship. I won't call us a brother and sister because everybody's going to freak out when we say that.
You already freaked them out a lot.
Yeah.
This interview is going to go down in Scary and Me history.
Let's just put it very simply, just like Hamza and I can't see ourselves, distant from each other with whatever, no matter what happens. Just like I can't see myself disconnected from my father or my mother. तो exactly उसी category में मंदाना आती है. And I think that is why we have stuck so long, because from the first
Anya, please jaldi paper.
One second, it's not connected. Are you there?
Yeah, I can hear you.
What I'm saying is that I think from all practical purposes, the way it has worked out for me is that from the first day that I met her, and I've been around and I've been doing my thing, whether I met her before and after, and all this time, all along, I think what I knew from my heart is that Baki sab call me the worst person in the world. I don't care, and I really am not scared to face the world for that. But I just know is because she was the one that so hopefully हम इकट्ठे ही मर जाएंगे.
3 महीने छुट्टी ऐसे औरतें जल्दी बुढ़ी होती हैं तो पता नहीं क्या जान से.
Hopefully जल्दी मर जाएंगे, लेकिन अगर मरे तो इकट्ठे ही मरे.
Till death
That's the
do us
best I
part.
can say.
Well,
Yeah,
that is the definition of marriage in the West. That's what they say, till death do us part. Okay, Ali. Mandana, we have a question for you. What does the name Mandana mean?
Well, it means man ka moti, mandana, man ka moti, and
that's a really
my father gave me this name, and I think अगर मेरा कोई और नाम होता तो शायद कुछ और ही हो रहा होता मेरी जिंदगी.
That's a really nice name. Acha, Ali, we have a question for you. So this is the question. So Ali, hi, thank you for coming to Scary and Me. When you were talking about your philosophy as a father, you mentioned that you don't want to make the mistakes that your parents made, but then from the looks of it, your parents were great parents. So can you explain what mistakes do you think they made?
No, I think the only mistake that they made was that they got so invested in us that they did not end up having lives of their own. And for that reason, I feel very, very obliged. And not that there's anything wrong with things, but I felt that as I started growing older, particularly because I'm so indebted, so indebted to them, that if that's something I don't want my children to be. I don't know if it makes sense, but I want them to have if I may say, I won't say obligation, but I'm so attached. I'm so attached that I couldn't go abroad, I couldn't travel, I still cannot live without them, I still cannot live a minute without them. और मेरी सारा focus ही उन पे रहा है सारी जिंदगी, particularly मेरे dad की तरफ. So वो ridiculous level की जो attachment है ना, वो मैं नहीं चाहता कि बच्चों की हमारे साथ हो. मतलब होती है सब बच्चों की, लेकिन they need to fly out of their nests, which I couldn't do. I never had the guts to do that.
But that's a very selfless way of looking onto parenthood, na? Like East में तो ये concept है हम बुड्ढे होंगे तो हमारा कौन ख्याल रखेगा? Yeah, do you want to like be old and alone and lonely if you want your children to fly? Like
I have a very good family, ना? मतलब मैं family में चूँकि believe ही नहीं करता उस तरह से जिस तरह से typical होता, तो मेरे लिए this concept nuclear family doesn't exist, and I'm sure Mandana has had to deal with it. बहुत मुश्किल होगा इसके लिए deal करना because she probably believes in a nuclear family. She believes in marriage. She believes in parenthood. I just simply am crazy like that. मेरे सारे चीजों के बारे में concepts बिल्कुल ही different हैं और hopefully हमारे बच्चों में आएंगे because संजना या आजाद जो हैं they will understand it. हम लोग तो एक certain mindset का product है ना. We were born in Ziaul Haq's time. We've had our own point of views. We've had a very strongly biased sort of upbringing. Places where they say कि जिस मेरे स्कूल में तो कहते हैं जो हिंदुस्तान का आदमी है वो काफिर होता है उसको कत्ल कर देना चाहिए, इस तरह की बातें सुनने को मिली थी और and so on and so forth. Yeah, music करना हराम है, and I lived with that, and it's in that time that I started exploring Islam very seriously because I was very unsure okay, what I'm being taught and what I've been explained in my society, is it real or is it fake? तो मेरे बच्चे जो हैं वो I hope they have a mind of their own, and that's the way I look at it.
Yeah. Mandana, what about you? So Ali's views on parenthood and family seem very radical, but you seem like a very on the earth, kind of very grounded person. Does it become a problem when it comes to like raising kids, planning a family? Because Ali's on a completely different tangent from most people.
I think, Aisha, there are two things. My parents have been very, very they've been indulgent, of course, but they have always given us that space or independence. They've taught us to be independent, to have our own opinions, and be liberal with us, and had that at the same time give us a lot of space. So, and that has made me who I am and had the confidence to do things in my life. So I think मैं तो अपने बच्चों को वैसे ही रेज करना चाहती हूँ कि वो अपनी दुनिया खुद बना सकें, अपने रिश्ते खुद बना सकें, अपने कॉन्फिडेंस पे बिल्ड करें, अपनी बात को एक्सप्रेस करना हो, कम्युनिकेट करना है. और हाँ, I'm very expressive as a mother, and is a very expressive person also. So we say things that might not be understood by them at this age, but there are a lot of things that I think they understand, and they're more mature than normal kids around their age themselves, because they have that exposure, they have that interaction, and they can communicate to us about everything. And I think that was the same with my parents. I could talk to them about everything. हाँ, मैं कुछ चीजों में शायद एज क्या कहते हैं ओल्ड स्कूल होंगी कि यार नहीं ये करना है, यहाँ जाना है, ये होना है, there are things that I have that mindset with, but I think वो इनकी age की requirement है. There are some things that you have to discipline your children to learn and to do, and with the passage of time, I'm sure it becomes a part of their life. They can pick and choose what they want to do. Like if they want to, my daughter was the other day saying कि मैं music नहीं करना चाहती. मैंने कहा बेशक मत करना, but when she was learning guitar, I told her you have to learn it. So it's your
Why
decision.
Did she have to learn it? Like, why did she have to learn it? Is music like?
No, because I believe sports be for anything, swimming ho gayi, tennis ho gaya, music ho gaya, anything, you have to know. Like सुर का तमीज होनी चाहिए. These are the requirements. अब जमाना वो नहीं है जब हम बड़े हो रहे थे. Times have changed. You need to be at that level to survive, to be successful, to do a lot of things. So it's the need. If you don't want to carry it on as a profession, sure, yeah, it's your choice. आप draw करना जानते हैं, आप कुछ करना जानते हैं. That's a skill that can be handy anytime in your life. But you have to have those skills. I think that's the most important time. And I think मैं बहुत practical इंसान हूँ, ये एक बहुत फलसफियाना इंसान है. So फलसफे जिंदगी की नीड होती है और उतनी ही practical चीजें भी उतनी ही नीड होती है. So I think it's a good combination when it comes in our kids. I think they will understand what they need and where they need it. So
you see, Aisha, when our children grow up, now they'll be using terms like such as I'm a binary individual. I'm not a male, I'm not a female. They'll be using words such as humanity. They will call themselves agnostics, atheists, or maybe some new word will come to define their relationship with God. And they will be so significantly different from what we are that it's just inevitable. I don't think we'll have any control or powers because I do my research, I read, I find out what's happening in the world, and I try to envisage a future of what kind of future it will be. And I see कि उसके अंदर जो role होगा, तकरीबन सारे ही paradigms खत्म हो चुके होंगे. That's the way I see it in their current shape. There'll be new paradigms, and this is like how Renaissance or all those times have worked. They're a part of our history, and history is still just right around the corner, a new making. As Corona has done it, as times have proven to us that we are about to enter into a new era of existence, not just in Pakistan, but across the globe. So from that standpoint, I do feel that it's not going to be a very viable situation to try to instill certain cultural or certain nostalgic or revivalistic values amongst our children, especially if they're coming from us. Second thing is, I think whatever we are, we have to practice what we preach. So from that standpoint, I think it's becoming clearer and clearer that as time passes, the children will not accept anything which is not practiced when it's preached. तो वो भी space खत्म हो गई है. So ये कोई मुरवत, लिहाज, morality drive नहीं करेगी बच्चों को. I don't see that happening. So practical life में they're going to have another mind altogether, and that's completely, आप उसको escape नहीं कर सकते. Future में survival इस बात पे based होगा who has a 2.0 mind or who has a prehistoric mind. So that's the way it's going to be, and that's there's nothing we can do in that. वो इनकी खुद की journey है. So we can only give them a basic sense of humanity, a basic sense of propriety, and most importantly, our own example. So वो जो है वो है. जैसे तुमको मिला, हमको मिला, सबको मिला. We got what we got.
Yeah. But will music play a part? Do you see music playing a part in your children's lives even in the future?
I don't think so. No, I don't think so. Especially considering the fact that music is no longer that relevant as it was in the past.
You don't
music
think
is just
so?
No, it's not. No,
isn't
it's not.
music always relevant? Like, isn't music one of those things that's just...
I'll just put it very simply. Just nobody reads the classics anymore. Nobody reads serious poetry anymore. Nobody likes to watch old black and white movies anymore. Everybody wants to binge on Netflix and everything. Everybody wants to go through their 3-second visuals or their reading or whatever they want to do.
They read on like Instagram now instead of reading a book.
जिस तरह म्यूजिक जो है वो भी उसी तरह का हो गया, because म्यूजिक जो है वो चंद सेकंड्स की अब लोगों की कंजम्पशन है. कोई बंदा सिम्फनी सुनेगा आज तो अपने चॉइस से सुनेगा, कोई बंदा गालिब पढ़ेगा तो अपने चॉइस से पढ़ेगा, because कोर्स में लगाने से कोई चीजें आगे बढ़ेंगी नहीं. So for all practical purposes, म्यूजिक की जो वैल्यू है लाइफ में वो बहुत कम हो जाएगी. लोग सिर्फ अपनी ट्रेन स्टेशन पे म्यूजिक सुना करेंगे, ड्रग पार्टीज पे भी गाने सुना करेंगे, और वो म्यूजिक एक सर्टेन किस्म का ही होगा. आज दुनिया में कोई रॉक म्यूजिक एग्जिस्ट नहीं करता, कोई सीरियस country music एग्जिस्ट नहीं करता, कोई हिप हॉप रैप उस तरह से नहीं करता. Everything is kind of like just merging down into an audio visual thing. So इतना म्यूजिक, ये लोग अगर म्यूजिक करें तो फिर बहुत डेप्थ में जाके करेंगे तो करेंगे, वरना कोई तुक नहीं बनता. I don't see it of any use to them. I definitely don't see them earning a living out of music.
Yeah. Okay. A lot like Manwa Ray is a song that a lot of Ammi said is by far their favorite from Ali Noor songs. So one mom, Amara Niazi, wants to know, can you explain the message you gave through this beautiful song, Manwa Ray?
There is no message. It was a filmic song. It was a situational song about a girl who was getting married off without a choice, and her lover was just watching her go away. That was the song. It was meant for a movie. And there's nothing other than the message of loneliness and longing, and the fact that you won't have what you wished for all your life. It's a sad song.
Yeah, but it really clicked. I think it clicked with like everybody. So Ali, when you were talking about God and your ideas, we had a question from Hajra Raza saying, so Ali, given your views, how do you define God?
How do I define God? You want to know that?
When you were talking about,
definitely, I'll tell you what God is not, for sure. My whole life has been dedicated to understanding the kalma and just the la ilaha illallah part of it. I've been really curious to know why they say that you could leave all the other arkans, but if you leave this, you're no longer a Muslim. And I was very curious to know कि आप कलमा करते कैसे हैं? How do you do your kalma, right? You know how to do your prayers, you know how to do your hajj, you know how to do your zakat, you know how to do your rozas, but how do you do your kalma? And then I realized that most people have never bothered to raise this question. They think that kalma just means not praying to Buddhas or, not having multiple religions, shirk or whatever. This is not, I don't think that's the real nature of the kalma at all. So what God to me is that when you say la, you're saying la to a God, and then you're saying, trying to, la ilaha illallah ka literal meaning is nahi hai Allah ke alawa koi Allah, right? And it starts with a nahi. So there's a massive rejection process that every human being has to go to discover God. So I can tell her what God is not. God is definitely not a person who has emotions. God is definitely not someone who gets angry or gets happy. God is also not someone who is going to have long hair and is going to meet you on the day of Qiyamah and say, "Acha batao tum logon ne kya kiya," and then is going to throw us in heaven or hell like that. These are all our ideas about God. God is also not someone who needs your prayers. God is not someone who is so self-centered that he needs people to just bow down in front of him all the time. He's definitely not a he either. So it's very clear that we have been limited by our understanding of God for all these centuries because we have been constantly, because of our lack of our mental capability, have been constantly making God a person. And when La ilaha illallah came, it basically said, don't make a person out of God. And when you don't want to make a person out of God, then the question is, does God become a he or she, or does it become an it? And that's when it hit me that if nature exists, because to me, nature is the creator. God creates nature to create, doesn't start creating things by himself. So the logic with which nature creates, the logic with which nature functions, the logic with which nature decides कि उसने आज dinosaurs पैदा करने हैं, उसने आज corona फेंकना है, उसने आज tsunamis फेंकनी है, उसने आज नए planets create करने हैं, उसकी जो logic है, जिसके तहत internet आज से 2 लाख साल पहले create नहीं हुआ, human beings civilized नहीं हुए 10-15 हज़ार साल से पहले, वो logic God है. जब God logic के ज़ुमरे में आ जाता है, तो वो बहुत बड़ी चीज बन जाती है. फिर कुरान, सारे मजहब सब एक कॉन्टेक्स्ट में फिट होना शुरू हो जाते हैं. To me, God becomes not a he or a she, but a logical specimen, a logical phenomenon that one has to abide with. Are you there? I can't hear you. Hello?
Yeah, I'm listening to you. My son just broke a laptop, so I was telling my husband it's broken. Yes.
So that's my idea of God. I don't know if people can get it, but I think God is definitely not a person. And we, for centuries, have been looking at him, not in just Islam, but every religion is considered Hello?
Yeah. Ali, last wala part aapka, the internet wasn't working. But I think you explained the answer really well when you said that God is not a person, and I understood. I understood it fully, so I'm sure the others did. Mandana, we have from God to black hair and vanity. Our next question is from Maimuna, that Mandana, I've always been a big fan of your black long hair, mashallah. What is the secret from God to vanity?
Yeah.
We are covering like all perspectives in this interview.
I think it's the genes, yeah. I had nothing to do with it. The genes.
No secret oils that you've been using.
No secret oils. Yes, I do oil my hair. I do take care of my hair. It's not I don't. And of course, when I take care of my hair is different. When I don't take care of my hair is a mess. But yeah, it is God's gift. I had nothing, no role playing in it. I just manage it.
Okay, Ali, for you, okay, we have 2 more religion questions and then those are the last ones. It's basically the same question asked by 2 different women, and then we'll go on to like more fun topics like Ghana Sunnah. Mariam is saying that I would just like to say to you, Ali Noor, that the Quran, even if just recited in Arabic without understanding, has tremendous barakah. As it's the word of Allah. So please don't deprive your kids of that. I know understanding is important, but Arabic recitation is beneficial. Also, a similar question from Rabia. Only one thing I want to say is that there's nothing bad in the conventional teaching of Islam. It's up to us, how do we take Islam and understand it. But please, just because you have your perception of Islam, don't deprive your kids from learning of the beauties of the Quran and Islam. And then we have a third question. वो भी इससे like मिलता जुलता है. The third question, that Ali, aren't you forcing your children to choose a more modern interpretation of Islam? What if what they wanted to be were traditional Muslims in the service of Allah?
For God's sake, this whole traditional business has led to freaking bomb blasts all over the world, man. For God's sake, this traditional business, I'm translating that as unexamined business, where you're not thinking.
Can you move? We couldn't see you, but now.
Where you're not putting the labor. Where you're not putting the labor that God desires from you, yaar. What does traditional mean? What do you mean by traditional? Traditional meaning unexamined, uneducation को आप कह रहे हैं? Just a bland belief that comes from your neighborhood, from your school, from your madrasa. That doesn't make sense. For God's sake, you know how I look at the prayer? Prayer is like writing a song. If I have to write a song every time and I have to make it better and better and better, do you realize how much hard work it is? It's like writing a namaz is like writing the most amazing poetry. It's like being one with God. It should be 24 hours. You don't need it for 5 times in a day. God is probably the most important thing we have in our lives. We just need to start giving God his due. And that does not come by this so-called idea of tradition, which essentially means let's not examine. I mean, you should be, I want my children to read the Quran 100 times over, but I want them to absorb it, to assimilate it. It's probably one of the most powerful books I've ever read in my life. I can't think of anything more powerful than the Quran. And I'm not saying it because I'm a Muslim, because it's the most cutting edge. Uske baad koi serious religions aaye nahi. It's the most cutting edge of the work. As far as these ideas are concerned, it is so multi-layered. There's so much to understand in it. But for God's sake, if tradition is anti-understanding, then I completely disagree. And I'm not forcing my children to be modern. I'm forcing my children, on the other hand, to go and delve into the deepest. They should go read Shibli Nomani. They should read Musaddas Ali. Then they should go all behind and read all the Imams and fiqh, and then other religions as well. I just want them to be really, really, really inquisitive. बच्चे होने चाहिए यार. उनके भी बच्चे ऐसे ही होने चाहिए. Tradition is unfortunately turning out to be just a non-inquiring position towards God. That is probably close to. वो तो शिर्क हो जाएगा यार. कलमा को करने का मतलब ही खुदा के पीछे एफर्ट करना है, उसके पीछे दिन रात लगाना है. कलमे करने का मतलब हरगिज अपनी हेवन या हेवन को गारंटी करना और हेल्प को अवॉइड करना नहीं है. वो ग्रीड और फियर से अगर चीजें ड्राइव करेंगे तो कुछ नहीं निकलने वाला. बस एक माथे में ब्लैक निशान पड़ जाएगा और फिर उसी में से कोई लोग निकल के जाके 6 जगह पर मस्जिदों में बॉम्ब ब्लास्ट करके आ जाएंगे. इसलिए बिकॉज शियों को सुन्नियों से प्रॉब्लम है, सुन्नियों को शियों से प्रॉब्लम है, वहाबियों को देवबंदियों से प्रॉब्लम है. ये तो नहीं बात बनेगी यार. ऐसे तो मसला कभी भी रिजॉल्व नहीं होगा.
Very well said. That makes a lot
That's
of
my
sense.
take.
Yeah.
And I'm a very religious person, by the way. And you're getting the wrong impression. मैंने अपना God के साथ relationship रखा है. 7वीं क्लास से what happens when I'm sitting in a hospital and I'm beholding. जिंदगी में 1-2 दफा हुआ.
Yeah.
I can't miss it. That's how strong my relationship with God has been.
Wow. Ali, so
tradition does not mean. Yeah, carry on.
So we obviously, as a country and the world overall, we just came through COVID, which was everyone's like almost close call with death, because like suddenly mortality was in question and life was in question, and it was a time of panic. But you went through a similar, well, not a similar experience, but like also a near-death experience a while ago. What, I mean, a lot of people want to know, what did you like learn after coming out from it? What, like as a family, how did that change you as an individual? You also had like an overwhelming response when there was talk of you needing a liver transplant. Like I think hundreds and thousands of fans were commenting and were willing. So how did that, like, I'm sure very emotionally unnerving experience, I don't know how much of it you want to talk about. How did that like affect you?
No. So basically, as I said earlier, I think I saw God for all practical purposes. That's what I saw at the ICU. And I really did. And I experienced God. And that's why I'm constantly saying that my belief and my faith in Him and His people became very, very strong. And I became even more sure that खुदा इंसानों के थ्रू ही पहचाना जा सकता है. खुदा इंसानों की दुआओं से, इंसानों की मोहब्बत से ही देखा जाता है. And I saw that. So मैं तो कायल हो गया. और मैं पहले भी कायल था, मगर जिसे कहते हैं ना, आपको मुझे इस बीमारी से गुजरना था to experience it. तो मेरे लिए तो ये बहुत फायदेमंद चीज साबित हुई. दूसरी चीज ये है कि ये कोरोना के टाइम से मैं कोरोना मेरे लिए एक सेकंड स्टेज थी. मैं उससे पहले एक महीना साल पहले एक्सपीरियंस कर चुका था what quarantine means. And not only me, Mandana, Alina, we all fell sick. We all got hepatitis from the same day. And then everybody had their own journeys of how they wanted to deal with it. Of course, my situation थोड़ी सी ज़्यादा dramatic हो गई थी. But Alina took 6 months to recover. Mandana recovered the fastest, but she had to, and Mandana had to hold the fort. So I think it just made us grow up so much faster than we did ever imagined. And I think that's what the experience has taught us. And the most important thing is, mere case mein, it became even more people who have nothing to do with me, who have nothing to do, who are not related to me, who are not my family, who are not, and it was not just fans. I remember when I was in the hospital, most people didn't even know who I was, and the way they took care of me, they just felt there was this strange bond. अब वो आज लोग मेरे सब best friends हैं, and they had no clue कि मैं क्या करता हूँ. दो जो main मेरे doctors, उनको तो पता ही नहीं था कि मैं musician हूँ. They only found out when the police, and sorry, the newspaper people came in, and then they're like, oh, अच्छा ये तो musician, and they had no clue who I was. And the way they took care of me, the way they would hug me, the way they would spend hours with me. Who does that? How many doctors sit with you while ignoring their patients? I don't know what's going. Just घंटों बैठे गप्पे मारते थे मेरे से. Religion पे, philosophies पे, science पे, history पे. They were so much fun. So that's what I saw, that people, God's people, are the most beautiful thing. You want to see God, see His people.
Yeah, very true, very true. Okay, Ali, so we had promised the Amis that you would sing for them towards the end of our interview. They were hoping for like half an hour of singing, half an hour of talking, but we've already kept you here for like more than 50 minutes. So I am not going to ask you to sing for half an hour, but would you like to sing? We have a lot of other questions, but a lot of Amis are saying, please sing something. So what are you going to sing? They are requesting Manware, but you can sing whatever you want.
I'll sing Manware. I'll just sing Manware, okay? ढोल की ताल पे गारे दिल झूम के गारे, अपना हर दर्द छुपा के नाचू और सबको नचारे, मुख पे घूंघट डाले नैना दो मत वाले, आज कोई चला है सज के पिया नगरिया रे, ये बंधन नाते सारे तोड़ के मनवारे हो मनवारे हो मनवारे हो मनवारे, न तड़पारे अगन दिल की न सुलगारे, न भड़कारे न छलकारे, ये नैनारे मनवारे. That's it.
Oh my God. Your voice, when there's no music and all, really gives like goosebumps. Like, you are incredibly talented. You can really just sing up when there's no accompaniments and a bad internet connection, and you still sound so good that you like, oh my God. Okay, the Amis are saying, please, one more from like your new, if you want to sing from your new album, which has not been released, only one song's come out right now, right? Am I correct? So if you want to sing from that or anything else, or sing the song that you've written for Mandana, if you want to.
Do you know that song?
I think I know a little bit of it. मैं को ढूंढ रहा हूँ और खुद से पूछ रहा हूँ, दिल जाए या जाए ना तेरे साथ, तेरी आवाज ना आए, अब कौन मुझे समझाए, दिल जाए या जाए ना तेरे साथ, तेरे साथ, तेरे साथ, तेरे साथ, तेरे साथ, जागी रहती मेल से पुकारा ना चली है मर्जियां, तेरे दे कोई तो इशारा मांगू तेरा ही सहारा मैंने तुझसे ही अपनी है आशा रखियां. That's it. That's the song.
Wow. That is such an amazing song. Really nice.
I wrote the song imagining what if Mandana dies, then what will I do? So I wrote the song and I freaked out. I was like, oh shit. If she dies, I will mar jaunga. मैं बड़ा for granted इसको ले रहा था. So I thought कि नहीं यार, I have to write a song to bribe her to stay alive and happy.
Okay, one member wants to tell you she has been listening to you for 17 years, back from 2003 when your first album was released, and now she's 29. So she's listened to your songs for more than half her life. So she's hoping you don't feel old after this comment. So okay.
I am 42. So I'm going to be like, I am now. अब मैं जवान कहते हुए गाते हुए feel really embarrassed when I sing that song.
Okay, we're just going to ask a couple of more questions and then we will let you go. Okay, there's like a funny question from one mom, from one who's actually her Varda's mom asked her to ask you this. Pili Patti or Raja Jani ki Gol Dunya. What her mother wants to know, what is the logic behind this album title?
It is a long logic.
So at the time of Pili Patti and Rajani, I thought the only drugs that exist in life are the pan ke andar jo milte hain. Till I discovered that there's so many better drugs in the world. So many amazing drugs that exist in the world. But I realized that much later after Pili Patti. Pili Patti and Rajani, the name of two tambakus, is the story of these two drug addicts who are so high all the time that they finally realized that the world is round. तो सब उनको कहते हैं यार वो तो पहले से ही पता था हमको. तो उनको बड़ी बड़ी realization होती है in a few moments that they kind of like realize that they're no longer in that drug state. It was more like a take on the whole world of how it's so oblivious to its existence and how people around us are just, whether they're men or women, they're just choosing not to inquire, not to discover the next evolutionary stages of their lives, and they've just left it to other people. And that's what the song was about. It's about realizing that you have to do your bit to discover life, and it's important to do that.
Wow, that's great. Acha, Ali, one last question. A lot of moms want to know that why did you stop making your vlogs or your YouTube videos? Why did that stop?
No, I just started again. I just stopped because I was just partly going through a massive depressive phase, and secondly because I just thought it was stupid. Now I think it's not stupid, so I'll start it again.
Yeah, so a lot of people were following you. Like a lot of people were following you.
We just started again. Just started again. Put out a couple of vlogs recently, but I think it'll take some time before they pick up properly because we just completely became missing in action, you know. So tell them to like go and check them out again. We've put out 3 of them as yet. Or dekhiye usko, see if it makes sense to them.
So why were you going through a major depressive phase? Corona or something else?
Midlife crisis. Idhar aao Sanjana.
भाग गई है.
भाग गई. मैंने कहा तो वो भी आज. It's midlife crisis. Totally midlife crisis. तुम्हें नहीं हुआ अभी तक?
नहीं मुझे नहीं हुआ. अभी नहीं हुआ. I think I'm heading towards that. Achha, so the women are very happy, the ammis are very happy that you have started your vlogs again. And Mandana, if you send us some links, we'll share them on Scary Ammi. So, you know, all those who are asking can even just click on that. And last question. So you've always had like very fun album names. What's your next album called? Like the single Jo Nikal Chuka Hua Hai. What's
Pagal. It's called Pagal.
Really? Is that the name?
Yeah.
First song that
name kind of says it all.
The first single that has come out is called Banjo Naya Gana Bana, and the album is called Pagal.
Okay. Do you want to show us your
Banjo.
Do you want
Huh?
Sorry, Mandana, what were you saying?
I'm saying the song that is coming next is the album song, the theme song, the Pagal song.
Oh, okay. So we will all be keeping a lookout for that. It sounds really It's Ram.
But right now, you guys should check out the new song. Huh?
What were you saying? We should check out the new
Check
song.
out Banjo.
Check out Banjo Naya Gana Bana.
What the pitch that came out like last week.
Yeah.
The Pagal one is going to come out. Ali, last question, and this is from me. So, do you sometimes worry that your best work is behind you? Like you've had huge successes, like Manwa Ray, and some of your albums were like huge successes. Like Arundhati Roy. So when I interviewed her, she's only written one book, but that book went on to win the Man Booker Prize. And I think uske baad she somehow could never write another book. So she wrote a lot of nonfiction essays, and she wrote other things, but she didn't write another book. Do you sometimes worry that what if your best work is behind you and everything else you do will not be able to live up to that hype?
2 words. Wanting to be remembered in a way or in any other way is, for lack of a better word, borderline narcissism. Best work is so relative. What I've learned, and I think one of the main reasons for my depression was this, because I think the most important thing that I've learned after falling sick is that if you really, really want to do something significant in life, it has to be extremely, extremely insignificant. You have to do something which will really, really, really be the next link in the chain of the evolution of mankind, and yet never want to take credit for it. Never even want your name associated with it. And that kind of resolves it all. Being significant or leaving behind a legacy or wanting to be better and good and best are all things that are anti-humility. Hamara gana tha Hod Bhi Neeva Ho Fakira. I understood the meaning of it very recently. It's very ironic that we performed it at Coke Studio, yet we didn't know. I never seriously grasped what it meant, because a fakir is the epitome of humility. और उसको कह रहा है कि तुम्हें भी उससे भी ज़्यादा नीवा होना है और भी humble होना है तुमने. And that's what I learned. Okay, so this best work business जो है ना, this is behind me now. Thank God that even at that time, the fame, the recognition never got to me consciously, but subconsciously it definitely did. I started having these ideas about myself subconsciously. My temperament and my personality is very patronizing as is. तो मुझे subconsciously अपनी एक sense of grandeur का एहसास होना शुरू हो गया था. And I came across this term, intellectual narcissism, that I was exposed to on my hospital bed while I was trying to look through Kashful Majoob, and I couldn't read it. So when I was मेरी सर में बहुत दर्द, so I looked up on YouTube कि कुछ की audiobook मिल जाए, कुछ मिल जाए, and I came across this lecture of a person. And I remember that he explained this concept while explaining Kashful Majoob. He said to people कि जब भी कोई लोग थोड़ा सा भी उनको कोई intellectual या creative headway होता है, तो वो अपने आप को presume कर लेते हैं कि ये उनकी वजह से है, not realizing कि ये ऊपर से सारी चीज आती है, not realizing कि ये, और फिर जब वो ये चीज अपने ideas को लोगों से share करते हैं, तो वो लोग उस पर उस तरह से respond नहीं करते, तो वो बहुत piss off हो जाते हैं, और फिर वो समझते हैं कि ये लोग उनसे कमतर हैं, और अपने आप को उनसे बदतर समझना शुरू कर देते हैं. And that's intellectual narcissism. When I heard it, I started bawling. I cried like I've never cried in my life, because I just suddenly realized that I suffer from intellectual narcissism. And one of the main reasons for that was the fact that I found the success, and I found a sort of a breakthrough, not realizing what led to that breakthrough. And that's what I realized, no, I'm going to carry on till the day I die, like Clint Eastwood does. He's 90 years of age. He's still putting out movies. And that is a much more and a much better and a much relevant aspiration than wanting to say, think my best work is behind me or my best work is yet to come. Who am I at? Who am I to say it? I have to remain a humble mazdoor and find the fact that I never got a chance to do law. I never got a chance to do a lot of things that I wanted to do. And I'm just stuck with music. And that's it. that's what I have to give. That's how I pay my bills. That's how my children's fees are paid. That's how I pay for my petrol. And I should be humble enough to say, Kanjri bani meri izzat na katti. Main nach ke Rab nu manavangi. तो कंजर बनना और मरासी बनने को मुझे, as they say in Hindi, स्वीकार करना पड़ेगा. And that's just the way it is.
Yeah. Wow. That's a very different side of Ali Noor. So a couple of ammis are saying if music doesn't work out, become like a motivational speaker.
I tell Eleanor that, Manika, you love to speak. I think you just need to just speak. You will make money with that only. So
Yes.
the fact is that their paths, life, and their things that you can express and talk and explain. But he has the words to express them. He is so good at it. I can't compete with this. So don't even try having a discussion with me. And he's like, so there's a certain role I think everybody has in their relationships, in their equations. Like people sit down and talk to him for hours, and when they have to get work done, they come to me and they say, okay, we have to get this done, Mandana. Can we get this done? Yeah, sure, we have to get this done. So, there is
मुझे किसी गुफा में, किसी गार में जाके बंद होना है और वहां पे जो लोग गप्पे मारना चाहे मार लें. मेरा फ्यूचर मैं ही लिखता हूं.
Ali, वैसे honestly,
मेरा फ्यूचर इस गार में.
start a second career. आप lawyer बनना चाहते थे, आप motivational speaker बन जाएं.
मैं मोटिवेशनल स्पीकर इसलिए नहीं बनता बिकॉज़ ऑलरेडी बहुत सारे मोटिवेशनल स्पीकर मौजूद है ना. मैं मोटिवेशनल स्पीकर्स के लिए
मौजूद हैं.
यार मैं तो वही तो कह रहा हूं ना, तो एक ही चीज करते हैं. अभी गाना ही बड़ी मुश्किल से गाया जाता है. बट ऑन अ सीरियस नोट, माय ड्रीम इज कि कभी मौका मिला जिंदगी में तो एक नया कलेक्टिव बने, एक नए थिंकर्स का, नए उनका, और फिर मैं उनका हिस्सा बन सकूं. और मुझे नहीं पता क्योंकि कि मोटिवेट करने से सीरियसली कोई लोग मोटिवेट होते हैं कि नहीं होते. बट मुझे इतना जरूर पता है कि एक वक्त आता है हर इंसान की जिंदगी में जहां एकदम से स्विच ओवर हो जाता है टू अनदर डायमेंशन. एंड दोज पीपल आर लकी पीपल, आई सपोज. आई होप के और भी लोग मिले. आई एम क्रेविंग फॉर कंपनी that is on the same wavelength as that I am right now. People who have a passion for life, people who have a passion for exploring and a passion for ideas, and who are humble, I suppose, who've learned how to not impose their ideas. I did it all my life and it did not pay well. It was very problematic. So, I'm just enjoying my life.
Okay, last question. Ali Noor, how about singing praise to Allah? That's from Yeti Ara. I'm not sure what she means.
Praise to Allah?
Yeah, I don't know if she wants you to sing like a hamd or like sing a song. No, yeah, I don't know.
That is such a private matter, such a damn private matter for me. I mean, I realize one thing, I don't agree with it. It's really
So you never sing a naat or sing a hamd?
No, सवाल ही नहीं पैदा होता मेरे लिए. वो बहुत problematic हो जाएगा. I cannot share and tell the whole world how much I love God by saying those words. I can't do that. That doesn't work for me.
Okay, great. Well, Ali, thank you so much. This was amazing. This is amazing. I still have so many more questions, but I promised your manager that we would keep you for an hour, and we're already over. So I don't want to infringe on your generosity and just keep you here. So thank you so much. We'll have you back maybe after your new album is released and you can sing songs from there.
I should come over sometime.
Yeah, come over. We need to stay
then so maybe next time I can come over and we can do the live.
Let's do that. Let's do that.
Yes, for sure. Well, thank you so much. This was amazing. And everybody who's watching, I've interviewed Ali Noor a lot of times, like so many years ago, before she was married.
सबसे कह दो कि कहा सुना माफ. कोई offend हो जाए तो माफ. I'm like this only.
Yeah. We've labeled him.
Mandana का कोई कसूर नहीं है. मैं
We've
बोला
him pagal.
No, the
No.
Afris are really liking this side of you. They're saying आप motivational speaker बन जाएं, वो tickets खरीद लेंगी आपको सुनने.
लिफ्ट कराने का वो ज़्यादा लिफ्ट करना चाहती है मुझे अम्मियाँ. कल तक मंदाना ने इजाजत दी भी है. जिन माओ ने मुझे एक्स्ट्रा लिफ्ट कराती है, मंदाना की तरफ से फुल इजाजत है.
They're asking for your number, so should we just like put it up for 70,000 moms to see?
Of course. I'm just not a very telephonic person. My problem is I'm not very telephonic.
So Mandana will
तो
be
कभी
picking
आए
up
हमसे
the call.
मिले दोनों से. मंदाना का इतना बड़ा दिल है ना, और मैं क्या बताऊं तुम्हें. इसको तो 1 करोड़ खून माफ है और मुझे 1 करोड़ 1.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, guys. This was so much fun. Thank you. And really good luck with the new album. We want to hear you in Sava very soon. When is it releasing? And we're going to schedule you coming back to Scary Yummy.
I think Muharram की 10 के बाद जो भी appropriate weekend बनेगा.
Great. So we're looking forward to it. Best of luck and thank you.
Thank you, Aisha. Thank you so much.
Lots of love and take care.
Bye.
Thank you.